18 days until the November 3rd election, and the president has casted doubts on mail-in voting and even election security. But so far, more than 17 million Americans have already cast their ballots this year, with experts saying 2020 will be a record turnout. Joining us now is Oregon Governor Kate Brown. Governor Brown, great to have you back here as always. Clearly a surge in early voting, and there's still one more debate that still needs to happen. What do you expect from next week's debate, considering what we've seen so far? And do you think anything's going to move the needle at this point?
Look, what I think is really interesting is that President Trump continues to decry the safety and convenience of vote by mail, vote at home. But what he doesn't want Americans to know is that not only he votes by mail, but most of his cabinet does. And they do, and we do in Oregon, because it's so convenient and so accessible for every voter to have their voice be heard. So I'm pleased to see so many Americans going to the polls. I am a firm believer in making sure that you have your voice be heard. And we're encouraging Americans across the country to have a plan for voting, and also to make sure that if you are able to vote early, that you do so.
Governor Brown, some people in Joe Biden's staff say they still think the race is going to tighten up here, even though he's leading in almost every single national poll by almost 10 percentage points. Is this to say, don't take your foot off the gas pedal, continue to keep yourself focused on all of this? That way you don't see a repeat of what happened in 2016.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I literally won my first race for the state house by 7 votes. I will tell you, 20 plus years later, I still have people come up to me and say, Governor Brown, I was your 7th vote. I was the reason that you won. And what is really true is that everyone who voted for me, everyone who volunteered for me, everyone who phone banked for me made a difference in this campaign and that campaign. And that is true in 2020, just like it was true in 1992. So truly, your vote is your voice, and every single voice matters. And in Oregon and other states around the country, we're working hard to make sure that every single ballot is counted.
You mentioned Oregon, like my home state of Colorado. Almost everybody does some sort of mail-in ballot there. It's a very convenient process, but for a lot of people in 2020, this might be their very first time voting by mail. We had about 137 million people cast votes in 2016. The Cook Political Report thinks that number might be 150 or 160 million this year. Governor, do you think if people vote for the first time by mail, they might like it enough that this sticks around even after the pandemic?
Absolutely. Oregonians have been voting by mail for over 20 years. We were the first state in the country. And I will tell you, we have one of the highest voter turnouts in the country because of the convenience and the accessibility of vote by mail. But there's 2 really important things right now. Number one, through vote by mail, you can cast your ballot and you don't have to put your health or your safety at risk. You can do it from the convenience of your kitchen table or your living room couch in your pajamas if you want to. And you don't have to worry about exposure to others. But secondly, the joy of vote by mail is that it's a paper ballot, and so it's non-hackable. And so we can replicate and verify the results. You might recall in 2016, there were issues regarding foreign entities interfering with our election. The joy of vote at home, vote by mail, it's a non-hackable process. So it's safe, it's convenient, and it's incredibly accessible for Americans across the country, and folks should take advantage of it. Try it, you'll like it.
Governor Brown, we've also seen a lot of lawsuits heading up into the election when it comes to voter laws, depending on what particular state people are in. We've seen lawsuits in North Carolina and Texas. Do you think if Democrats are able to take the majority in Congress that they need to pass some sort of voting rights bill so that way all of the processes that we've seen throughout this campaign don't repeat itself again in future presidential elections?
Absolutely. What is really, really clear is that when the fabric of our society is frayed, it's so important that the foundation of our democracy remains strong, and voting is a pillar of that democracy. I am a firm believer in making sure that everyone, every eligible American can vote. as conveniently and accessibly as possible. We also have to look at how we register voters. By virtue of your citizenship, your residency, and your age, you should be able to participate in this process. Oregon, again, leading the way with our automatic voter registration. But there's so much that can be done at the federal level to support the states and make sure that all eligible Americans have the opportunity to participate in this democratic process. Here's what we know. We know that the democratic process is not a spectator sport. We need Americans participating. I firmly believe that the results will be better, that they will be more reflective of who we are as a country and more reflective of our values.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be quite the long time after November the 3rd. We'll probably have to wait a few weeks or something like that based off of the results, but it's going to be interesting regardless. Oregon Governor Kate Brown, always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much, Governor, for joining us.